So in the previous class we learned about how land is distributed in Palanur, what are the factors to production. We also studied about the traditional method of farming and the modern method of farming. In the second part of this class, we are dealing with the demerits of modern farming. Even though green revolution was a blessing for people of Punjab, Haryana and western parts of UP, later they found it was not a blessing for them, but they had to suffer because they depended on a modern method of farming. So first important disadvantage of modern method of farming is that prolonged use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides kill the useful bacteria in the soil, which leads to soil degradation. It can lead to soil degradation. You can find the soil is degraded, the soil is losing its fertility. So, excessive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides can kill the bacteria in the soil. So, that will degrade the soil. Another important feature is that demerits of modern method of farming, the pesticides and fertilizers like urea, factors, potash used for cultivation percolate through the ground soil to contaminate water. You can see the people who are spraying pesticides in the field and the fertilizers which they had used for farming, for increasing the production, all this will get into the canals or rivers during the raining season. That way, it will contaminate, means pollute the water sources. That is why the people are getting more diseases. People are getting cancer. We know the case of our Kasaragod, where farmers used endosulfan for cultivating cashew crops, and today also many children are suffering from the endosulfan side effect. Children are born with defects. Many of them are handicapped. So that is another important problem. It will pollute the water bodies, whether rivers or lakes. So that is another important feature. The third, the soil fertility is decreased due to the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides on a large scale. See, the soil fertility is decreasing year after year. And what now the farmers of Punjab, Haryana and UP, what are they doing? When the fertility of the soil is decreasing, we are adding more fertilizers to the field. Suppose earlier they were using only 5 quintals of fertilizers on 1 hectare. Now they are forced to use maybe 8 quintals of fertilizers on a hectare. That means each year the farmers are forced to buy more fertilizers to increase the production of food grains. So that is another serious aspect of modern method of farming. And the fourth feature of a modern method of demerits of modern method of farming, it is more expensive as farmers have to buy tractors, harvesters, they have to set up tube wells, they have to buy submersible pumps, they have to use fertilizers and pesticides for farming. They will have to buy high yielding varieties of seeds for farming. So all this will cost more money to the farmers. That is why we see today the farmers, farmers sometimes commit suicide in India. The farmers of Andhra Pradesh are committing suicide. The farmers of Maharashtra are committing suicide. The farmers of Punjab, Haryana are committing suicide because they are unable to repay the land. Sometimes the crops may be damaged due to rainfall, due to any other calamities. Another important demerits of modern method of farming is the water level is decreasing at an alarming rate. This is of very serious concern in India. Especially the places like Punjab, Haryana and UP, the water level is going down each year. One reason for why the water level is going down because these states mostly they cultivate rice. You know that for the cultivation of rice requires standing water throughout the year. Till the time of sowing and transplanting, till we harvest, the rice requires standing water in the field. On the other hand, wheat cultivation requires only requires only initial stage. At the time of harvesting, there is no need for water in the field. So that is why when farmers grow more rice in the fields of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh, the water level is going at an alarming rate. So the advice given to the farmers is that they must go for diversification of crops. They should grow less rice and they can use some other crops which will require less water. That is the only way we can reduce this problem. Now let us try to find out about what is green revolution. What is green revolution? What is green revolution? It is the increase in the production of crops like wheat and rice by using high yielding varieties of seeds on a large scale, by using fertilizers and pesticides on a large scale, and by using intensive irrigation system like tubers and canals, and by using various machineries called tractors and harvesters or combiners for the cultivation. So that is called green revolution. It was introduced in India in the after 1960s. It was introduced by Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. So he was the brain behind green revolution in India, and that is how that helped to increase the standard of living of the farmers of India, especially in Punjab, Haryana, and western parts of UP. Now let us come to another important feature of village Palanur, the transport system of a Palanur. In the olden days, people used borrow carts for transporting goods from one place to another. They used to borrow carts for carrying maybe clay. They used to borrow carts for carrying sugarcane. And another important thing, they used bogies. They used tongas pulled by horses. Those days they used jeep, tractors, trucks, motorcycles, etc. Were used. This was the main transport system of Palanur, which took them from. You can see in the picture borrow carts. You can see in the picture tractors. They used it to carry people and goods from one place to another. From Raipur to Palanur to Raiganj, from Raiganj to Shahpur. Now, let us come to the next point, that is, name the non-farming activities of Palanur. You see, non-farming activity, one is the dairy. keeping cow or buffaloes at home and selling the milk and milk products. And here you can find there are chilling plants for milk. The milk is collected from various centers. The milk is collected from various villages and brought to the chilling plant. And we have the example of the best example of Amul milk production in Anand, Gujarat. So the Amul milk production in Anand, Gujarat was started by one Mr. Varghese Kurian from Kozhikode. So he set up dairy farming business in Anand, Gujarat. And the people got loans from the cooperative societies and they bought cows or buffaloes and sold the milk to Amul milk. And Amul milk produced various products from milk. We are selling milk packets, we are selling curd, we are selling Amul butter, we are selling Amul ghee, Amul ice cream, Amul cool drinks, and so many products. Now crores of rupees we are getting. So that is one of the main non-farming activities of Palanpur. Not only Palanpur, we know that dairying is one of the main activities in almost all villages in India. It gives them additional income to the farmers. They can not only get milk and milk products, they can also use the cow dung as manure. They can also make biogas. So all this is very useful for the farmers of various villages in India. So the dairy farming, that already I have told you about dairy farming. Now see, another important non-farming activities of Palanpur is small-scale manufacturing. The people of Palanpur are engaged in basket weaving. You can make a basket with bamboo production. Mat making, basket making is especially among the people of the tribal people and other people of the villages. It is one of the main business, basket making. And here you can find in Palanpur, they have set up a sugarcane crushing unit. Misri Lal of Palanpur has set up an electrically run sugarcane crushing unit in Palanpur. And from the sugarcane he produces jaggery, and that jaggery he sells it in the Shahpur town. And he makes money. He makes a little profit with that. Besides this small scale manufacturing, besides basket weaving and sugarcane crushing, people also get engaged in weaving of clothes. Weaving of clothes and candle making also is a very important industry in Palanpur. Another important feature of Palanpur non-farming activity, shopkeeping. The shopkeepers of Palanpur, they sell various grocery items like pulses, cereals, soap, toothpaste, biscuits, oil, and all those grocery items are being sold by the shopkeepers of Palanpur. And there are also some small shops which sell eatables. They sell tea and some snacks for the people. So these are the other one I have already told you. Transport system also is part of the non-farming activities of Palanpur. People who have surplus money, they buy tractors and trucks, and they make a living by transporting people, by transporting goods. Now another important question, from where do the farmers get money for cultivation? I have told you in the beginning that for farmers like rich farmers like Teja, There is no problem of money because he has surplus money by selling his surplus products in the market. Or he can give his tractors and harvesters on rent to the other farmers and make extra money. Maybe he may be having some shops from where he gets a rent. That way he has surplus money. On the other hand, for the medium scale farmers, they get money from various sources. They may borrow money from traders at a high rate of interest. The people to whom they sell rice and wheat, they will give them advance money and they charge a high rate of interest. Second one, they may borrow money from the money lenders in the villages at a high rate of interest. So we are in the trap of traders and money lenders. Or they may borrow money from rich landlords. That is the way they arrange money for cultivation. So they are not able to make any saving, and whatever money they get, they have to pay. They have to pay as a high interest to these people. So it is only a question of survival. They are not unable to make a surplus money. They cannot sometimes increase their standard of living because they are forced to borrow money from these people. The only way the government can do is that the government must give them money at a low rate of interest through cooperative banks, through nationalized banks. Only that way only their condition can be changed. So before we now let us point out some examples of non-farming activities of Palanpur. See, we can see one is the Kareem. Kareem found out that the students of Palanpur were going to Shahpur town to get a computer training. So, what Kareem has done, Kareem has set up a computer center in Palanpur, and he has given employment for 2 teachers of Palanpur who are got training in computer. And with the help of these 2 teachers, he is teaching the students of Palanpur computer learning. So many students after turn standard, they also join for computer training in Palanpur. So that way he has set up a business of his own. He has set up a computer center that has enabled the people of Palanpur from going to Shahpur town, and they can save their money, they can save their time, and at the same time they can get a computer coaching from Palanpur itself. We have another important person of Palanpur. He is called Misri Lal. Misri Lal is a manufacturer. He has purchased an electrically run sugar crushing unit in Palanpur. Earlier they were using bullocks for crushing sugarcane. Now he is able to crush more sugarcane with the help of this sugarcane unit. He purchases sugarcane from other farmers of Palanpur and from Raigad, and he makes jaggery from sugarcane, and that jaggery he sells in Shahpur town, maybe with the help of bullock carts or tractors, and he makes a profit, a small profit, and that way he makes a living in Palanpur. We have another person called Kishore. Kishore is a landless farmer. Earlier he used to make a living by working in the fields of other farmers. He used to get 60 or 80 rupees per day. That was not enough for him to make a living. So what did he do? The government introduced a system of loan. He got a loan, and with the help of loan he purchased a buffalo, and he looked after the buffalo and he sold the milk. He sold the milk of buffalo and made money. He used to sell curd and the milk and made a living. And sometimes he used to attach a cart to the buffalo, and he used to transport sugarcane from Palampur to Sharpur, or sometimes while coming back he used to collect the clay from the riverside and give to the water just by dairy and by using the buffalo for transport system or transport. We used to make a living. Now, one important factor I would like to say is about Palampur is that in Palampur the land is limited, as I told you earlier. I will give an example. Sujat Singh had 5 hectares of land earlier. So Sujat Singh had a surplus production. He could make a decent standard of living with that 5 hectares of land. The surplus product he could sell it in the market and make money. But Sujat Singh had 4 sons: Hari, Bhola, Shyam and Sundar. And the land was divided into 4. As a result, each son got 1.25 hectares of land. That land was not enough to look after them. So that is why the standard of living of those farmers who had less land for cultivation, their standard of living decreased. They found it difficult to meet the basic requirements of life like food, shelter and clothing. So they were forced to work in other people's farms. Some people were forced to migrate to other villages. So we studied in this chapter about the village of Palampur. The village of Palampur is a small village which is representing any village in India. We saw that the health system in Palampur was very good. They had a good education system. They had 2 primary schools and 1 high school. And Palampur was connected by roads, a good network of roads. Palampur had electricity. Palampur, the rich farmers, they had good houses made of bricks and cement. And the Dalits, the poor people, had structure houses made of mud and stone. And we found how the farmers made a living, how they increased the farm production, how they used various non-farming activities to make a living. So I think the story of village Palampur has given us glimpses of the people's life in villages in India.